Tonight, Working Together, a unique take on native title for mining near Port Augusta. And a talented Port Lincoln artist and his tribute to one of footy's greats.
This is Southern Cross News with Alison Drower.
Hello, thanks for joining us. First tonight, details on a plan to build a seawall at one of the Gulf's favourite holiday and weekend getaway spots. Low-lying shacks and houses at Fisherman's Bay will be protected from high tides and storm surges, as Rachel Nell reports.
It's been an ongoing concern for the District Council of Barunga West on how to spare low-lying beach shacks from severe flooding. This week, a freehold meeting discussed how to best manage the problem.
The people there don't own the land itself. They pay a lease to have their houses or their shacks on that land.
Because shack owners lease the land, the freeholding process must be dealt with by the council before any development for a seawall can begin.
Once it's all passed, then the people that lease the land which their shacks are on or houses can then buy the land freehold.
Council has put forward a proposal to build a seawall to protect low-lying shacks and houses at Fisherman's Bay from high tides and rising oceans.
The Development Assessment Commission has certainly made it a requirement of the freeholding process that there be a seawall and levee bank built as part of that process.
The wall will run along the foreshore and the eastern edge of Fisherman's Bay.
High tides do come in, that'll hopefully protect all the residents in the Fisherman's Bay management area.
Shack owners and local residents will get the chance to see the final plans and make comment as council seeks the right expertise for construction of the wall. Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
A Whyalla woman will face court in October after a video appeared on social media allegedly showing a child smoking a bong. The clip allegedly shows the young child lighting and then inhaling from the bong while being urged on by others. Police became aware of the video and tracked down the woman, and she has been charged with 2 counts of supplying drugs to a child and has been bailed to appear in the Whyalla Magistrates Court in October. A mining company is determined to set a new benchmark for mining on native title land. A new development is earmarked for land owned by the Cookatha Aboriginal Corporation in Port Augusta. The Oz Minerals company is now working with local traditional owners to build and operate the Carrapateena mine.
It's a $95 million copper and mining development sitting right in the middle of native land, and Oz Minerals is determined to make sure the Indigenous landowners are involved every step of the way. 150 Cookatha common law holders have voted in favour of a native title mining agreement in Port Augusta.
So involves scholarship funds, business opportunities, employment opportunities, and we'll be working on all of those things coming into fruition in the next 2 years.
Under the agreement, native landowners will receive royalty payments and will work alongside the mining giant in developing the project.
We really hope that it's laid down a great foundation for, it's not just a great foundation for our social investment and social return for our region, and in particular for Cookatha people, but even the broader Aboriginal community. We see there's going to be a lot of benefits.
The company has signed a partnering agreement with the Cookatha Aboriginal Corporation, which is based on a foundation of mutual respect.
Really should become the benchmark and a template for the resource sector and Aboriginal communities.
The agreement will provide every opportunity for Indigenous stakeholders to stay and work on the land. Amelia Simpson, Southern Cross News.
Parents and guardians are being urged to get the facts about immunisation, with around 15% of 2-year-olds in the seat of Grey still not getting their booster shots. Federal MP Rowan Ramsey says the national rate for immunisation of 5-year-olds is around 93%, but we can do a lot better. He says the low coverage in some pockets of his electorate poses a real risk to the elderly and also newborn babies. Well, towns around Broken Hill are being urged to get a share of hundreds of dollars in funding from a program called Stronger Country Communities. Pat Reinke has more details.
A once-in-a-generation opportunity for regional communities. Broken Hill has already put forward its applications for the Stronger Country Communities Fund, which included the Patton Park upgrade and the resurfacing of local tennis courts. Now the fund is open to communities in the unincorporated New South Wales, like Silverton, Tibooburra and Topar.
I would expect projects around local amenities, particularly the parks, toilets, some of the facades, potentially some of the showgrounds, campcraft areas, maybe some of the tourist amenities to be given either a facelift or a refurbish. So generally that's where people are starting with.
Broken Hill City Council will be collating the submissions, and Mr Humphries is urging people to get in contact and put forward their ideas and projects.
Hopefully we'll be able to, in the next couple of years or year and a half, roll out some pretty serious funding for the far west of the state.
The Stronger Country Communities Fund is part of the New South Wales Government's $1.3 billion Regional Growth Fund, designed to provide communities with vital infrastructure.
The unincorporated area has 4 weeks, up until the 13th of September, to get their applications in, and if they can just make sure their applications come via the Broken Hill City Council, they're acting on behalf of the unincorporated area for the administration of this project.
Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
Stay with us after the break. Wyalla's newest festival, guaranteed to provide plenty of laughs and good times. Welcome back. You're watching Southern Cross News. Well, Port Augusta will soon have its own Krispy Kreme outlet for those who have spent long road trips to Adelaide to satisfy their cravings. Amelia Simpson has more on the new franchise.
The end to the build of Port Augusta's long-awaited service station chain will now be even sweeter. After several signs have come and gone, those from On the Run can confirm that Krispy Kreme donuts are coming to the Augusta Highway. On the Run's business development manager says it's the first Krispy Kreme outlet in regional SA.
No, we haven't taken our Krispy Kreme to the regional South Australia as yet, so this is the first one, and certainly the first one serving the northern community.
The Donut Factory opened their first SA store in 2014, and thanks to the community's input, those in Port Augusta will soon get their hands on a hot original glazed.
Whenever we plan a on-the-run development, we listen to the community, we reach out, find out what people want, and there was this enormous desire for us to bring Krispy Kreme up to the area.
After confusion as an Oporto sign was recently replaced with a Hungry Jack's at the site, Mr Moyer says it's a quicker option for those passing through town.
Okay, we originally were asked to bring the Oporto into the development, and an opportunity came to establish a Hungry Jack's in there, which we felt was a more appropriate offer, given the aim of the site is to the transport community, the people moving through.
The development has created over 200 local jobs during construction and will employ 30 more people once in operation. People in Port Augusta can expect to get on board the glazed donut craze once the doors open in early September.
Whyalla Council has confirmed the Unearth Festival will be back for Easter next year after this year's huge success. A lot of people weren't convinced the event could top the much-loved Snapper Festival, but it seems the city has a smash hit on its hands.
When the Snapper Championship was axed for the Unearth Festival this Easter, many residents wondered if the change would work. But around 10,000 people proved the decision was a good one when the event was held in Adirang Gardens. Showcasing the best acts from the Adelaide Fringe Festival, the numbers surpassed council's expectations.
Numbers were looking really good, very unexpected, but very much appreciated that the Whyalla community actually came in and supported the event.
Planning has begun already to ensure next year's Unearth is bigger and better, working with fringe organisers to lure acts. Ms Nielsen says the community response has driven the festival's success.
After the success of it, so many people loved and enjoyed the whole day. I mean, we've had comments saying that they stayed from 10 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night, so why would we not bring it back?
Despite the achievement, local businesses missed out on the benefits due to Easter trading hours, while tourist numbers were minimal. Ms Nielsen says as the event grows in stature, she expects businesses will see a rise in activity.
We are looking to engage the actual business community and hopefully they can come on board with us to maybe make it a week-long event opposed to just a weekend event.
John Hunt, Southern Cross News.
As Broken Hill heads into its season of windy weather, the city's RSPCA is warning dog owners not to forget how blustery days can impact their four-legged mates. The windy conditions can have just as big a fright factor as fireworks.
This little fella is not a fan of strong winds.
The wind can frighten them and it can make them find somewhere to hide in extremely windy weather.
As Broken Hill starts to experience faster wind speeds heading into September, the local RSPCA wants to make sure our four-legged friends are safe and sound.
If you go outside and your pet's not there, check that there's no small places that it can get in your backyard.
Miss Olds says strong winds can open unsecure gates and potentially damage fences. She says your dog should be microchipped and wear a collar with your contact details in case it gets out.
People need to be aware that in this extremely windy weather, dogs are more likely to escape and to be quite vigilant about that.
And the RSPCA will be holding a cupcake day next week to help find new homes for dogs, cats and other animals. They will have a stall set up in Westside Plaza selling delicious treats and are also taking orders from businesses for the day.
That's to raise awareness for all the dogs that are surrendered into the RSPCA, and we're trying to raise money for ones just like this to help give them a new home. So all the money we raise on Cupcake Day will help all these little babies find homes or be sent away to find a new home away.
Cupcake Day will be held next week on Monday. For more information, contact Broken Hill RSPCA. Patrick Reinke, Southern Cross News.
Stay with us after the break. Old MacDonald's Farm comes to Port Pirie to the delight of hundreds of kindy kids. You're watching Southern Cross News. A Port Lincoln sculptor has become emotional when explaining the labour of love for his current project. Ken Martin is close to finishing a life-size bronze statue of North Adelaide footy legend Ken Farmer. It's a project that's taken more than 300 hours.
Standing on his toe, his famous right leg raised, and his eyes focused on the ball leaving his foot. Ken Farmer was South Australia's greatest ever goal kicker, and now, thanks to Port Lincoln sculptor Ken Martin, this is how he'll be immortalised.
It's an honour to sculpt the man who kicked more goals than any other league footballer in the country.
Ken was an iconic forward, booting more than 1,400 goals. His records during the 1930s still stand to this day.
He was the Bradman of football.
Ken played his career at North Adelaide, becoming the first SANFL player to kick over 100 goals in one season. Form he then continued for the next 10 straight.
People at the Oval would flood from one end of the Oval to the other at quarter time in order to see him kick goals. Really a hero of the day and a great distraction for many in hard times.
Ken also led North Adelaide to a premiership. However, 2 weeks before the game, his brother Elliot was killed in a motorcycle accident. Ken overcame great distress to win the match.
But tragically, a fortnight before, I got emotional.
Farmer's heroics and qualities have rubbed off on the man in charge with bringing him back to life. Over 300 hours sculpting has forged a special bond with a man Ken Martin has never met.
There is a great deal of affection, and occasionally I'll talk to him.
Ken's statue will soon stand alongside other greats at Adelaide Oval. Jason Kemp, Southern Cross News.
Well, the words of nursery rhymes like Bar Bar Black Sheep at Old MacDonald's Farm have come to life in Port Pirie today when St Mark's College held its annual Farm Day. Rachel Nell decided to take a bo peep and follow the flock.
The Farm Day event is held annually at St Mark's College, exposing young children to the animals which live around the mid-north.
Good to give children who don't have a farming background a chance to come see various types of animals and how they kind of conduct themselves in these sort of conditions.
The petting zoo was a hit with the young ones.
Wonderful.
And their favourite part was watching and playing soccer with the pigs.
Looking at the pigs.
St Mark's High School students use the animals as a valuable learning tool, learning how to perform basic farming duties.
The TAFE come down from the Pirie Centre and teach some of the students how to shear the sheep.
200 kindy students from across Port Pirie were lucky enough to visit the farmyard today before their animals head off to Adelaide for the Royal Adelaide Show.
And the high school students are in charge of preparing the animals before they travel to Adelaide.
We lead the goats and they're judged competitively, same with the cattle.
Farmyard Day is running across 2 days, but with its success and positive feedback, the farmyard will be open for extended hours tomorrow. Rachel Nell, Southern Cross News.
And that looks like a great day. Well, time to get a feel for where they're biting. If you are keen to drop a line this week, let's go to our fish and tips experts.
Welcome another week around the Gulf Fishing Tips. It's been a little bit cold and windy at the moment, but I'll tell you what, the great thing about that is the big blow-up stirs up the snappers. So any wrecks that you have along the creek areas, try those over this next coming weekend. I think you'll find that you'll have a good run with them. Now, we've also seen that some salmon floating around. Burley up the top end or go to the Third Creek runoff. You should find yourself a beautiful catch of salmon around the place. Snook has still been there, as we've been reporting, and still plenty of squid.
G'day and welcome to this week's Fish Tips from Port Augusta to Jewel North. Well, the usual suspects are still there. Lots of King George whiting around in pretty good numbers, but I'd be starting to stock up on them because they'll start to move out once that slime lifts and the shitties will move in. There are some big kingfish up around the top end of the Gulf and also ranging down to around the powerhouse, but it's a bit pot luck with that. There's some big flathead getting caught on the weed banks, mainly out in the eastern bank area, and also some salmon out there on the troll. You are also picking up the odd snook there too with the salmon.
Hi, Whalers Fishing Report this week. There's been still some good numbers of squid. They are starting to thin out across Whyalla, but if you work your way down towards Mount Young, they seem to be in a little bit deeper water, in the 4 to 6 metre mark. If you get in too shallow, there's not too many numbers, and there is a lot of small ones around amongst them. Also some good garfish, and the King George whiting are on the improve. There's some really good sized fish down towards the Mount Young grounds. For the land-based anglers, just a few salmon coming in around the Point Lowly areas and down towards Becky Point.
G'day and welcome to Fishing Tips in Port Lincoln. Well, locally in the bay there's been a few yellowfin whiting caught over the past week. Also in the bay there's been a few squid about with the clean water. Whiting is a little bit patchy in the bay, but down at Taylor's there have been a few fish caught around the lumps. There's also still a few flathead around within the bay and also around the National Park coastline. Moving over to Coffin Bay, the whiting have been going really well out at Farm Beach, and it's worthwhile having a slot line down as well. There's been a few gummy sharks in the area too. Up the coast there's been some good salmon caught along the surf beaches, and yeah, especially Talia turned it on Sunday and Monday, and there were quite a few good fish. Well, that's all for this week. We'll see you again next week with more fishing tips.
Your local weather is up next with milder conditions and a hint that spring is not too far away. You're watching Southern Cross News. And it was back to calmer conditions for Port Lincoln and a few other Gulf centres today as we check your local weather now. And temps were reasonably mild for the second last week of winter. Broken Hill a little bit breezy for 20 degrees and another wet day in Adelaide for 15. On the satellite, some speckled cloud over southern parts of SA today with cool unstable winds causing showers and a little bit of thunder, and the north impacted by a jet stream bringing some high cloud. If you are venturing onto the ocean tomorrow, winds will be westerly from 20 to 30 knots with seas on a southwesterly swell up to 2 metres. Sunrise will be 3 minutes to 7 and sunset at 5:50. Tomorrow mainly fine right across the Gulf and into Broken Hill. Port Augusta and Corn enjoying a little spring in their step for a sunny 18. Fine skies over Lincoln tomorrow for the first time in quite a few days, and Adelaide will persist with some showers and 14. So to the 4-day outlooks now, mainly fine skies for Port Lincoln through until Monday. Cleve will see things become a little overcast Sunday, but no rain. And Woodner is in for a sunny weekend. Whyalla gets the gold star for a lovely run into the weekend. Seeing some temps nudge 20 degrees there. Port Augusta will also be fine, and Kadina might see a shower Sunday, but otherwise all clear for you. And slightly above average temps too for Port Pirie over the next 4 days. Clare will see, will still need the doona rather for some chilly nights and around 14 degrees, and Broken Hill staying around 15 until things begin to warm up again on Monday. Well, that is all from the Southern Cross News team for tonight. You can watch more local news via our YouTube channel and also stay up to date on Facebook and Twitter. And we're always happy to get an email as well. So until tomorrow at 6:30, I'm Ali Drower. Enjoy the rest of your night.